I got a couple minutes. Good afternoon, evening, what time it is. This is a big review for me and gonna be one of my faves. Check it out. What a surprise. It glows in the dark and it's super bright. Gonna get to that in a second. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back. What we got here is something super awesome. And I cannot speak highly of this enough. Everything I fly, move my hands, I'm sorry. Everything I fly is for a reason. It has a purpose, flight characteristics, what it can do, if it's GPS, if it's not. And I do a lot of research and procrastinate a lot, and it takes a lot for me to decide on something. And this was a super easy choice, and I'm glad that I did. I will start off with the flight characteristics right off the start. I did a very basic tune, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. And when I get something and get it built and finished, I do a very generic tune on it by changing the PIDs a little bit, some expo, kind of go across the board. Expo is a little different. I had never added it to anything until I got the DJI remote, and this is not the remote I use with it, but you get the idea. Oh, there's no sticks on there. There's a very short stick throw to these, so with shaky old hands, it leaves for movement in the quad. So I kind of tuned that out with Expo, but I did my quick PID tune on this thing, and my maiden flight in a 1900s old mill was extraordinary. I did pop test it. I did do all that and make sure I flew around the basement once or twice to confirm how it was responding. Is that's what I do. Is I do a very repetitious first pack, if you want to call it, to see how I flew it before I touched it, and then I flew it after to get an idea of what it will do and how it will respond, because you want a trust in what it's going to do when it's out in the field, so you don't have accidents. There was no like treacherous area other than just flying in a huge old building away from myself. Wasn't flying over water, any crazy gaps and stuff like that. I got to test everything this thing was capable of in one pack and was absolutely blown away. This is the Beta FPV Pavo 20 Pro Nightfire Edition. And as you could see, it has LEDs and all that crazy stuff, and they're programmable. It's kind of tough to see. Down behind, see the two buttons in there? I can't point because I'm holding it up and using the phone. Inside there's two buttons, and those two buttons change color, brightness, speed, and all the pattern and all that stuff. And you get a little, whatever you want to call it. Do I have one out? Usually in one of my goggles I have a screwdriver for props or something like that, and you can get in there and hit it, and it's a no-brainer. It comes as a kit. You put it together. It's very plug and play, even for a beginner, and then the setup is supposed to be really easy. Mine came basically bricked. That's the only way I can describe it to you. I put it together. I changed the tabs that needed to be changed in the UART or the port, whatever it's called, tab in beta flight, and it didn't want to do anything. I got video, but I got no transmission between the controller and this thing no matter what I did. It wouldn't let me update. It was just frozen, so to speak. And long story short, very short, is I reached out for help to somebody that is super knowledgeable and very smart, and basically got blown off and said, I don't got time for you. Leave me alone. And that put a fire under my ass, and that hurt my feelings and made me feel stupid and not important. A lot of stuff. It was just disrespectful. People that have knowledge and hobbies, people tend to gravitate to them to get help. And that's kind of what I do and why my channel was created. And I don't want to sidetrack this, but I go out of my way to put it out there that if anybody needs help from a tune to whatever I'm capable of doing, that's why I'm there. So when I reached out for help, I got like, leave me alone. And that's just, it's a rotten feeling. And it put a bad taste in my mouth. But it put a spark under my ass, and it made me want to figure out what was wrong. So I reached out to my buddy Shane, one of my fellow flyers from Ghost of FPV, from C2C FPV. And I said, dude, throw this post out to all your buddies and just see what you get for feedback. And lo and behold, within minutes, I got a, hey, put it on Impulse RC driver fix. Completely forgot about that because I haven't built quads the way that I used to and had that on every other laptop I've ever had. Long story short again, as soon as I did that, I was able to update the firmware to get this thing where it needed to be, and it flies. Unbelievably flies. I did have to reset it up, retell the gyro and the board orientation and all that stuff, which I'll skip the details. But within having to do that, for you guys that build and know, this is motor 1, 2, 3, 4. When I plugged it in and finally got it to respond like it is here, respond the way that you see it moving on the screen, it wasn't doing that. So I did that, got that all squared away, but then I realized that the motors were not in order. And Betaflight has, because I updated it, a new tab underneath the setup that says remapping motors. And literally, I've done it the hard way when I first started building and learning, just wire it and then do it after the fact. And having to tell motor 1, what motor 2 or 3, whatever, took like 25 minutes, was an absolute nightmare. This took under a minute. You hit the tab, you say, I don't got props on, whatever it is, and then you click on the circle on the screen which motor is spinning. So when this started to spin, I tapped on that one, and so on and so forth. Hit save, go back into my motors, and then I start spinning them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, done. Put the tune in, off we go. So fast forward, take it outside at the range, and I flew it around, and I instantly knew this was perfect. This thing is so locked in, and it was breezy, and it didn't go anywhere. It just held. Like when you know your shit is dialed in, you're talking to somebody, you let go of the sticks and go look, and it's just sitting there. And it's just staying where it's supposed to. Absolutely freaking amazing. So I flew it around the range, and I got a feel for it in some acro. And then I flew it in angle mode, which is my major flying for cinematic stuff, because I'm not doing any flips and rolls, especially indoors where I don't need fast lines. Angle mode is perfect. This thing does exactly what it's told, when it's told, and responds beautifully. It's not swaying, it's not delayed, unless that's what you're looking for. Then you do that in your PIDs and your Expo and all that other stuff. This thing made me feel so confident at a location flying it for the first time that it blew me away. I have not had this feeling in a very, very, very long time. And I take a lot of time on all my analog stuff that I don't fly anymore to get it to fly the way that I want. And it takes multiple packs to test that and get it where you're confident. This was in 2 minutes, and I was going where I needed to go and shooting gaps and creating smooth lines, and it was just there. It lined itself up. It was amazing. Video quality, obviously, with an 03 air unit is absolutely epic, and words cannot describe when I say huge old building, 51,000 feet or something like that per floor, and I was just doing floor at a time, but it had additions onto it, so you're putting a lot of concrete between you and going around. So long corridor, and then there's an add-on building, and I was going around through the backside, which was blocked off by a wall, going through the other building, and then coming back out into the main building, and it worked flawlessly. Yes, you're going to lose some HD bars, but it didn't pixelate. I didn't lose anything. It was awesome. I cannot get over how epic this thing is. If you're looking for a first quad or something to add to your arsenal that'll do what you need it to do and get incredible shots, the Pavo 20 Pro is absolutely amazing. And for me to say that says a lot, because I don't promote a lot. I don't get paid to do it, so that's the idea. I actually left the props that it came with on because they're quiet, they're efficient, and I'm not going to mess with a good thing. I do have other props that I want to test and stuff down the road, and we'll see, because noise, and this will do 2S and 3S, and all other than the pop test that was 3S. I've been using my FlyLens 85 batteries this way, so it's mounted underneath this way, not that way, and 6, 7, 8 minute flights with it, and this thing's perfect. I have never had a quad that I can say it checks all the boxes, and I didn't have to modify it, other than obviously build it, make it what it is. No tweaks to the frame, no prop mod off the rip or custom setup frame, nothing. It just works right out the gate. And my first edit for this is going to drop on Friday, and hopefully you'll see what I saw flying it. I was smiles the entire time. This thing just made my day, and I needed that. It was a struggle to get it. I forget what day I got it, and then trying to figure out why it didn't work just blew my mind. Like, I was depressed. Walked around the house like a mopey asshole. F and Chet came over here and we tried a couple things and nothing. And then when the light bulb finally got screwed in and figured it out, and it was instant. I had finished it Friday, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and we were flying. I'm sorry, Saturday, and we were flying that Sunday morning. Am I messing this up? Finished it Saturday night to fly Sunday morning. So it didn't give me a lot of time. So when we were at the range setting up everybody for trap, I got my pack in, and then we were good to go. There's enough specs and stuff out there. You do not get the O3 air unit if you've never seen this thing ever. It's all over the place. People are starting to review it now. They had the Pavo Pico, the Pavo 20, Pavo 25, Pavo 20 Pro, and then they did the Nightfire edition with the custom RGB LEDs. And the frame's different. It's see-through. The props are see-through. I do know that they make a blue. So maybe down the road, swapping that to blue. We'll see. But I highly recommend this. Watch the video on Friday. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've gotten this and you've done anything to it to make it better, or questions on PIDs, mods, tune, all of that fun stuff, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. I will always answer and always try to help the best that I can. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one.